Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Eric B.Horn, and I'm the founder of Eric B.Horn Incorporated, which is a career management and professional development firm for college graduates to mid-level professionals. And I'm here with Nasir, and what we wanted to do is, both in the career management space, and what we wanted to do is take some relevant topics and give you a perspective of that topic from two career industry experts. Um, like I said, I've known Nasir for maybe a week or 2 weeks, but I was just so captivated by the platform that he has, and I'll let him explain a little bit more once he goes and he does this intro. But I was so captivated by the platform, so I definitely wanted to join forces with him and provide you guys the best content possible when it comes to career management. Nasir?
Hey Eric, thanks for the introduction. So as you mentioned briefly, my name is Nisar Ahmad, and what I do is I'm the founder of a publishing platform called CareerMetis.com, and where we myself and a community of authors provide career advice, career management advice for job seekers and freelancers across the world. I'm also the host and the founder of the Career Metis podcast. It's a topic that career management is a topic I've always been very much interested in, and that's the reason I started the platform. And a few weeks ago, me and Eric decided to join forces and start this video podcast series. So this is actually a second episode of our video podcast. And last episode, Eric, we spoke about the importance, actually not even importance, why people need to pay attention to their career, why career management is important. We talked about, how the world is changing, layoffs and all that. So we spoke about the whys. And in the last episode, you gave a glimpse of what are some of the things we can do. What are someone who's interested in building a career? What are some of the things they can do? You started off by talking about commute time. And for example, I live in Toronto. I commute to work an hour, a little over 1 hour each way, 2 hours a day. If you live in any big city, that's like the average commute.
Right.
So you're in Chicago. You said, yeah, that's the average commute as well. So I want you to continue where you left off last time about the whole idea of taking advantage of their commute.
Sure. With me being in Chicago, the traffic to and from work can be pretty grueling. And one of the key things that I talked about was when you're in your commute, majority of the time people listen to the news or they listen to their favorite radio station. Well, one thing that you can do to, empower yourself when it comes to your career is to turn your car into a mobile library. And what do I mean by that? Meaning start listening to audiobooks, you can start listening to your podcast or any type of audio instructional program based off of what you are currently doing in your career, or if you're looking to transition into another career, empower yourself and listen to something in your car. Now, if it's on the average, if it takes maybe an hour to get to work and an hour to get home, that's 2 hours a day, that's 10 hours a week, and that's 40 hours a month that you can use just listening to an audio podcast or audio program to empower yourself when it comes to your career. Because the majority of people say that they don't have the time. But folks, I just gave you the numbers. Even if you would chop that in half, and if you only listen to something for a half an hour, that's still 20 hours a week. That's like a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
That's 20 hours a week where you can empower yourself and learn something new when it comes to whether it's in your current career or something that you would want to transition to. But what about you, Nasar? What other ways you can empower yourself to manage your career?
I will talk about something that I do on my commute, but the fact is I've never really thought about the numbers. You're right. Like if you're commuting 2 hours a day, 10 hours, 40 hours, so you could get an extra weeks of education or self-improvement in that time. You're not doing anything different. You're already taking the train or driving, what you can do to improve. So that was, I hope that really hit me as you say, wow, I never thought it would be that many hours, and people listening to this should get the importance of that. Um, Audio is great, right? Like audio could be podcasts, it could be recordings. There's so many programs. Um, One thing I do personally is I read. I love reading.
Okay.
Uh, I like the last 2 years I've been reading about 50 books a year because I love it, and that's because I have this time to commute. And instead of looking at my phone and playing Candy Crush, I read, and I can tell you that I don't know if people play Candy Crush anymore. I don't know what game it is. What is the latest Pokemon? Yes, that's the latest thing right now. I read, and I'm telling you, the books I have read during my commute, it could be Kindle, it could be a book from a library, has had a positive impact on my life. You also like another format, Eric, is everybody has a phone. Everybody's looking at the phone now. Most metros, they have free Wi-Fi, or even the data plans are getting cheaper. You can also watch videos. So like, for example, this will be on a YouTube video. You can also watch videos on how to improve yourself. Um, so there's no excuse. There are different formats, as you said: audio, podcasts, books, ebooks, videos. Now, even on your phone, you can learn courses. There are companies like Udemy, Coursera.
Yep.
There's so many of them. Uh, let's say you are a programmer and you want to learn coding skills. You can actually watch that video during your commute time. And I must tell you, surprisingly, for the last 2 years I've been commuting, I haven't seen anybody do that. Like,
Wow.
and it really blows my mind. So uh, that's like turning your commute time into education time is extremely powerful.
Man, it's a mobile university, and you touched on something that it really amazes me. I was a late bloomer when it came to Kindle, and you talked about mobile phones. You can also, whether you have a Android or you have
Mhm.
a iPhone, you can download the Kindle app, and it amazes me where the amount of books that you can have, like you talked about, just on your mobile device. Like
Mhm.
I have at least maybe 75 to 80 books. I haven't read them all, but I have the option if I'm on the bus or on the train or even, flying somewhere, you know, I can carry all my books in my phone, as opposed to having a book bag full of books kind of weighing your back down. You
Yeah.
can access all of these books, meaning you can have access to all of this information wherever you go. Because, like you said, every people's cell phones are attached to their hip, and instead of playing games or just wasting that time,
Mhm.
spend some of that time educating yourself. Especially with, I do commend you with reading, 50 books a year. You have people that haven't read 50 books in their lifetime.
Wow.
So definitely, I give you that's very good. I'm very impressed by that, and it keeps you. It just shows how diligent of a learner you are. You are classified as a lifelong student, which most people
Mhm.
they're not. But with you having a hunger and a thirst for knowledge, it definitely puts you at the forefront, when it comes to your career. And, that makes you a very marketable person. And a marketable person is never unemployed. They always have someone seeking them for their talent, for their skill set, for their advice. And once again, technology, because we talked about technology before we started the recordings, technology has made learning so much easier. Let me just say this one piece and I'll pass it back to you.
Mhm.
Now you have Ivy League schools um, giving people the option to go online and take classes for free. So
Right.
once again, there's no roadblock when it comes to what you want to learn, but and I'll talk about this a little bit in a quick second, but it's the mindset that you have when it comes to managing your career, because a lot of people, they just put their career in someone else's hands, I'll be very transparent. This is what I did in my
Mm-hmm.
first job. I'll never do it again. But they look at it like, well, my boss has been in this position. I'm going to do everything that, you know, he or she will ask me, and they'll take me wherever they go, which is sometimes it's not the case, because you better believe that your boss is managing their career the same way that you should be managing your career.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for the kind words, and I actually pride myself in being a good lifelong learner. Before I talk about some of the things in terms of the technology, I think one of the words you threw out there is you are never unemployable, marketable, and employment. I have had for someone in my the time of I've worked, I've had multiple jobs, and one thing is because of the lifelong learning, I have the confidence and comfort to know that if something happens to my job today, uh, I am not that stressed out. I should be able to get something new. And I
Yeah.
think that is key. Most people and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I've learned this from others. Like, you should always be in a position where no matter what happens, you're employable very quickly. And this covers the last topic in this. We talked about the why and what. So that's one thing I want to say. Going back to what he said, you talked about Kindle, and you talked about so initially we started talking about all the books and all that. Hey, but the word I want to throw to people out there is the word free. You said that a lot of podcasts are free. Most of them are free. Your phone, I mean, most of us have a smartphone. It is free. All this, even you don't need to buy a Kindle reader. You can download the app. I don't in Toronto, Canada, the public library allows you to download so many books, and basically you can borrow a library book, ebook, read it, and lend it back. It's cool. So you don't even have to invest. And like, if you're concerned about, hey, my funds are low, I don't want to buy new courses, you don't have to. It's free.
Right.
Like you mentioned, Ivy League schools like Harvard giving courses for free. It's amazing. It's available for free. So there's no excuse. The medium is there. You have the technology. You have the time. Only question that I have, and maybe Eric has as well, what is stopping you?
Yeah. That's wow. That, you know what, that kind of trumps what I was originally gonna say. And you know what, the main thing, because we talked about a lot, right? But I think the initial thing, and probably the most important thing someone needs to do before trying to access Kindle, going to the library with the podcast and audio, is just initially make the decision that you're going to manage your career. Because once you make that decision, and you, like we talked about in the last episode, you associate that with your overall why, you're in a position where you start to just want to consume so much information, and you will empower yourself to, you know, drive your career. Because a lot of people make the decision not to control their career, but then you have a small amount of people that say, you know, even though I'm at this particular job, my initial goals for my career is this, and this. You
Uh-huh.
making a decision that you want to manage your career, it creates a mental roadmap for you, and the only thing you have to do is execute to the point where, you know, they'll consume, and also they'll implement any and everything, or as much as they can, they learn, you know. So making that initial decision to manage their career puts people at a different level instantly, because you have people that say they want to, you know, make $100,000 a year, or they say they want to be in the C-suite. They may say that, but talking and making the decision and doing is two totally different things. And for me, you know, I had to make a decision to say, you know, I want to become an entrepreneur, and I want to help other people focus on having a career as opposed to a job. You know, that was the the decision, and the mindset shift for me, because I know everyone talks about mindset and mindset shift, but they really don't know how to do it. it's as easy as just saying this is the decision that I'm going to make when it comes to my career, and you know, start to execute. So making that decision to manage your career is probably one of the most important things. And it's not a coincidence that it's one of the first things that you need to do. Usually the first thing that you do, i.e. that first initial step, is probably one of the most important things that you can do when you go down that road.
You know, Eric, one thing I love about the last few episodes we have done is you always give a great topic which we can expand on. And I think my suggestion is my favorite subject, one of my favorite subjects is mindset. And there's a lot of things I want to talk about. So in the interest of the time and keeping this episode concise, I'm suggesting that we should talk about mindset in our next episode, why it is important to make that decision, what the mindset is. So that I would say in terms of you, if just a quick summary, if you have listened so far, we have talked to you about what are some of the things you can do in your commute time. Best of all, it is free. The only thing you need to do is make a decision. We'll talk more about, you know, how you can start taking the first step in our next segment. So I'll pass it on to Eric. Any last words before we conclude this?
Well, the biggest piece, like I said, we'll talk more about mindset in the next episode. But you know, people underestimate what they can do in their careers because they don't once make a decision and then have the mindset to push it through. It's guys, it's not as hard as what most people are claiming it to be. You know what's important to you in your life, whether it's your kids, whether it's, like I said, making a lot of money or being on Forbes magazine or Success magazine. You know, whatever's important to you, align that up with your mindset so you can be very, very successful. That's just high level. We'll definitely go, you know, much deeper in the next episode. But guys, having the right mindset and making a decision is not as hard as you think it may be. So,
all right.
All
With
right.
that, we will conclude this and we'll see everyone in our next episode.
Have a good one, guys.